Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Friday edition of Renegade Wrestling. I am your host, J.J. Williams. First and foremost, I hope everybody had a happy and fun Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're not in a coma listening to this. You're actually awake and able to watch this. You know, if you're still catching some Z's from the turkey and everything that you ate, then so be it. Hopefully my voice will soothe you and bring you memories of cranberry sauce and hot fluffy stuffing and juicy white or dark meat turkey, whatever your preference is. Now, if you're watching me, that means you're not out there dealing with the Black Friday craziness. And hell, maybe you're standing in line right now at Walmart. You just got a notification through your email that the show went live, and you are listening to me talk while you're in line waiting for a doorbuster deal to go down at the Walmart or your local Target. If you are, thank you. That is some loyalty. If you're not, if you're at home and you've already braved the Black Friday shenanigans, I hope you survived. If you're like me and you just are either too poor or you choose not to go out there into the chaos and destruction and the commercialism that is the holiday season, thumbs up to you too. Now that all that is out of the way, I'm going to get down to some questions that y'all have submitted. There's a couple I've been putting on hold for a little bit because I wanted to do some looking into. So forgive me if I get long-winded on a couple of these, but kind of need to. From Facebook, Don Marlin asks, "Hey JJ, how would you book a Ring of Honor invasion angle in the WWE, and who would you have as the leader?" Well, this is one of those that I actually had to do some waiting on and researching because I wanted to find the right blend of guys to do it and make it a successful, because as much as I liked the way the Alliance invasion went, there were definitely some issues with it. So I would try to retake the WCW ECW Alliance invasion angle and do it the right way. If you go back and you watch the Raw match from July 9th, 2001, Jericho and Kane versus Lance Storm and Mike Awesome when Tommy Dreamer and RVD debuted, that's more or less the way I would book this match. In the place of Chris Jericho and Kane, I would take current tag team the Primetime Players, and I would take Antonio Cesaro and Cassius Ohno, who is yet to be called up to the main roster, Kings of Wrestling, for those that know. For those that don't, pause this video, open up a new YouTube tab, type in Kings of Wrestling, and watch some of their matches. I'll wait. Okay, now that you've seen some of the Kings of Wrestling, for those of you that weren't in the know, basically I have the Kings of Wrestling versus the Primetime Players. During the match, obviously Kings of Wrestling would get a serious beatdown going on PTP. I would have Haas and Benjamin come in through the crowd, kind of the way that Tommy and Ray and RVD did, because wrestling's greatest tag team is now on the ROH roster. They could be coming in with some vendetta for the way that WWE misused and released them, and they're bringing their friends: Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, Kevin Steen, Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis. And then I would have Punk, Bryan, and Cesaro, who are already on the roster, join. And I would do this the way I always wanted to see Legacy done. When Legacy was at its high point, you had so many second and third gen superstars on the roster that they could have had a Legacy on Raw and a Legacy on SmackDown. So my Raw ROH faction would be Punk leading, Haas, Benjamin, Davey Richards, and Eddie Edwards. Over on SmackDown, I would have Bryan leading. Get rid of the Daniel Bryan name and go back to Bryan Danielson. With Antonio Cesaro, Cassius Ohno, Kevin Steen, Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, and Maria Kanellis. You've got a bunch of different tag teams in there that would help fuel and revitalize the tag team division, because you're bringing back Haas and Benjamin. You've got the American Wolves, Edwards and Richards. You've got the Kings of Wrestling, Cesaro and Ono. You've got some guys that can go singles and try to compete for either the IC or the US title in Steen, Strong, Bennett, and any of the other guys that I just mentioned in the tag division as well. Davey has been ROH champion. Eddie has been ROH champion. Cesaro and Ono have been PWG champions. So you've got people for your IC division, people for your US division, people for your tag division. You've got guys that can compete for the world titles: Punk, Bryan, Strong. You've even got Maria, who can go after the Divas title and try to bring all that gold into the ROH-led Invasion fold, which would bring, you know, your Cenas and your Ortons and possibly even your Kanes and your Undertakers to the forefront to try and lead this charge to banish these guys, very much in the same way that the WWF banded together to fight off the Alliance during the Invasion. So that is how I would book it, Don. I'm sorry it took so long for me to get to that question, but I hope you enjoy the answer and the people that I picked. Speaking of the Invasion, somebody asked me, Shade Dillon, "Hey JJ, loved the show, lad. If you could recreate the inaugural brawl from Survivor Series 01, who would I put on the Alliance team, and would I change any members of Team WWF?" Considering the fact that Angle and Austin were both heel at the time and part of the Alliance, I would not change any of the Team WWF, because Rock, Jericho, Taker, Kane, and Show was a very, very solid Team WWF. I would have rebooked the Alliance team, though. I would have had Booker T, DDP, RVD, Raven, and Tommy Dreamer. Because if booked properly, which they weren't at the time, Raven and Tommy Dreamer are serious threats. And especially in the original ECW Invasion type of angle like they were doing. Those guys deserved to be taken seriously, and they weren't. They were put on the back burner for guys like Booker T, and to a lesser extent DDP and RVD, and then they felt they didn't have enough star power, so they brought Austin and Angle over to the Alliance side. If they had actually seriously focused on the people that they had on the roster from WCW and ECW, they could have made some very viable threats and brought some of those guys forward a little bit better, in my personal opinion. Matt Adams says, "Hey JJ, what do you see with WWE doing with Miz and his face turn?" Fucking it up. Like they always do. They're gonna fuck it up. They had a perfect opportunity to turn Miz face when he first came back from filming his movie, and they didn't do it then, for whatever reason. They decided they wanted to keep him as a heel. And then they buried him a little bit deeper, gave him the IC title, and they have it lose it to Kofi Kingston on a C-rated television show. And now they're going to turn him babyface and try to get all these Johnny-come-latelys to jump on his bandwagon, when some of us have been riding the Misfit train since 2004. They're just going to fuck it up. They could have brought him back from filming his movie And when he grabbed the mic at Over the Limit, he could have talked about how WWE has granted him the possibility to fulfill his dreams. He started out at the bottom of the company, became WWE champion. Now he's even making movies. This little kid from Cleveland, Ohio, could have been the start of a great babyface run right there. And they just blew it. They're not going to do anything with this either. Mark my words, he will not get another title run as long as he's babyface. At least world title. He might get an IC or a US, but he will not get a world title as a babyface. Adam Buskirk from Facebook says, "Hey JJ, I've been a big fan of Casa D18 Studios for a while now, and I'd like to get your thoughts on these two questions. First, do you see Cleveland being a host for a WrestleMania? I believe that the Cleveland Browns Stadium would be more than big enough." At this point in time, probably not. I don't think Cleveland has a rabid enough fan base and is enough of a tourist destination to try to make people from all 7 continents try to come to Cleveland, Ohio, like people would want to go to Houston, Texas, or Miami, Florida, or DC even, or LA. I love the Miz and everything, but what does Cleveland have really? The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Drew Carey? We're good. Maybe in the future, but as of right now, I don't think Cleveland will be home to WrestleMania anytime soon. Second, who are your top 5 wrestlers that you would like to see turn face heel? Mine are Miz face, Orton heel, Cody face, Kofi heel, and Swagger face. Keep up the great work. Well, I'm only going to agree with one of those there, and that's Kofi heel. I want to see Kofi give the Trouble in Paradise to little Jimmy and turn heel. Everyone going to be thinking that Kofi's lost his mind from all this time teaming with R-Truth. Like, what are you doing kicking the air? I'm not kicking the air. I just took out little Jimmy. My other 4 are Cena heel. That should be a big fat duh. We all want Cena heel. Ziggler is a babyface. As much as I love Dolph Ziggler as a heel, I think it's time for him to evolve into that respected babyface that still may do a little bit of dirt every now and again, a la your Eddie Guerrero. Even when he was trying to be heel, he'd get a pop a lot of the time because people just respected the shit out of Eddie. And no, I'm not trying to compare the two, but Dolph's work rate as an in-ring competitor is definitely up there to where he should be respected by the people that like wrestling. And he's been there long enough now as a heel that I think a face would be a fresh start for him. Great Khali should go heel. I'm tired of the Punjabi playboy shtick. It's like Great Khali should be future endeavored, but at least if you're going to keep him, turn him heel and back into that Indian giant monster. It's the same thing with the Big Show, even though I didn't put him down here. It's like Big Show belongs as a monster. Don't play him as this goofball. Big Show is a monster right now. So that's the right track. Could you imagine if Big Show and Khali were a team? Those two giants. Colossal Connection, anyone? Revisited? The last one I would change is Wade Barrett. I would move him to a babyface. Just because I'd like to see what he could do as a face. He's been a heel since he debuted with Nexus. He was a babyface for like a split second when Punk took over the Nexus and excommunicated him. But then he started the core and was heel on SmackDown. So, Ricky Lawson. Hey JJ, from a fan's perspective, would you rather be a Paul Heyman guy or a Vince McMahon guy? I know there have been lots of big name Heyman guys, but I've been noticing wrestlers such as Jericho, Rock, Shawn and Angle come out to say they were McMahon guys. My twisted sense of humor, I would prefer to be a Paul Heyman guy. In fact, I want to get that t-shirt that says I'm a Paul Heyman guy. Because I have always had nothing but respect for Heyman, and now he was able to take the little engine that could and make it a threat to the big two in the 90s. He may not have had the best business sense when it came to keeping books and everything, but he is a mad scientist. He is an evil creative genius, and I would gravitate more towards that, I think, than Vince's cookie cutter copy and paste style that he's had for so many years. I actually have a question from Twitter today. Michael Scott at Scotty the Kid, SCOTTI the Kid, all one word. Hey JJ, whatever happened to the WWE Network? They had so much hype for it, then poof, gone. Investors. Investors didn't want to get behind the idea of a 24-hour wrestling network. They didn't think that it would make enough money. They thought it would end up being another XFL, scandal, fiasco, or World Bodybuilding Federation. Remember that one? Yeah. Thought it was going to end up like that. They had the programming going for it. They were doing all the filming so they could have content, but the investors didn't think it would make them enough money, so nobody wanted to do it. That's why WWE has been promoting things like Tout and that Soundhound knockoff. I forget what they call it. Those are things that WWE has got a lot of money invested in, that when the quarterly dividends are paid out, just like to any WWE stockholders out there, like Ray and anybody else that may have one, when the quarterly dividends are paid out, WWE gets a kickdown of all that money from Tout and the Soundhound knockoff and all those companies, so that they can hopefully finance it themselves. That's why it was put on the back burner. My last question today comes from YouTube, Scott Hall Razor. Hey JJ, what are your thoughts on Tenzai? What do you see in the near future for him? What are your thoughts on Open Fight Night and Championship Thursday? I think they are great and will help ratings. Well, Pinky kind of took my statement that I made during Raw and utilized that on her episode of In the Pink that went up on Tuesday. Tenzai is Japanese for jobber. Tenzai had so much potential and promise when they brought him back, and they decided to give all that momentum to Ryback instead. Ryback is what Tenzai was supposed to be, in my opinion. As far as Open Fight Night and Championship Thursday, those are the two shows of Impact each week, or every month, that I look the most forward to. I love the concept of Open Fight Night, where they've got to come out, you can grab the mic, call out whoever you want to, and they have to answer the challenge. The old days of put the fuck up or shut the fuck up. And as far as Championship Thursday, I wish they wouldn't be so dramatic about the way they whittle everybody down as to who's going to get the title shot. But got to build the suspense there somewhere, I guess. But I love the fact that the title, a title is randomly defended. What happened to the TV title being defended every week? Hogan came out when Devon had the strap and made this big old speech about, back when I was a kid, brother, the television title, brother, was defended every week, brother. And then they realized they put the strap on the wrong person, and Devon was like never on TV until the Aces of Eights things came. Samoa Joe is a great attraction on television. A lot of people love him. Some people in this house don't, but a lot of people love and respect Joe. He is a good ratings getter, and he has good matches. Joe needs to be on TV every week defending the TV title. Personal opinion. So, that is it for my questions today. I've got one more thing that I need to say. Be on the lookout tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Go to unlimitedradio.net. There's going to be a huge announcement during the broadcast tonight They're having special guest Sassy Stephanie. Be a big announcement tonight on the program regarding Casa D18 Studios. Casa D18 Studios has been bubbling and brewing for the longest time, and things are about to blow up for us. Go to unlimitedradio.net. Tune into the show tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Sassy Stephanie is the special guest. Huge announcement from Casa D18 Studios. I hope you tune in and listen. And until then, we will see you next time right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel.